pronouns, and I am the Facilities, Operations, and Events Coordinator for UC San Diego's Black Resource Center. It is my pleasure to be here with y'all this afternoon to talk about the Black Resource Center, talk about our services, but most importantly, answer any questions that y'all have. I do have a PowerPoint presentation, but this isn't meant to be too formal of a session. So anytime if y'all have questions about anything, feel free to unmute yourself or raise your hand, however you want to do it. And I'm happy to answer those questions. But to get started, let me just go ahead and pull up the PowerPoint. 1 second, having some technical difficulties, but all right. Then let me share a screen. All right, can I get like a thumbs up or something if y'all can see the PowerPoint slides? All right, awesome. So I already mentioned that I'm representing the Black Resource Center at UC San Diego. This image that you see at the top of the screen, this is one of the murals that is at the front of our center. I'll talk about where our center is located on campus in just a few slides. But this mural is really just to depict that the Black Resource Center is for everybody, no matter how you represent your Blackness, or even for the campus community. As I'll mention, we are part of the campus community centers, along with the Cross-Cultural Center, the Women's Center, the Intertribal Resource Center, the Raza Resource Centro, the LGBT Resource Center, as well as the Intertribal Resource Center and API Beta programs and services. All of the campus community centers have our emphasis in the demographic that we serve. However, any students can come and utilize our services, be in our spaces, participate in our programs, and use our resources. But like I said, this mural is just really to depict that there is no one definition to Blackness and how students represent themselves in our space at the Black Resource Center. Next slide. So in terms of career staff, we have 3 professional staff members at UC San Diego. Director Portia Curry, who is an alum of UC San Diego, our assistant director, Jay Rice, who is not an alum of UC San Diego, but he did work at UC Santa Barbara for a few years. They were unable to make it to this event today, but of course they are resources for you, just as I am a resource for you. And as I mentioned, I'm the Facilities, Operations, and Events Coordinator for the BRC. Excuse me, I graduated from UC San Diego in 2017. I studied cognitive science, I minored in African American studies, and I'm currently pursuing my master's in business administration at UC San Diego, otherwise known as the MBA, through Rady School of Management. So as we go through the presentation, happy to talk to y'all about some of my firsthand experiences at UC San Diego, just to make sure that anything that y'all want to know about support services or about how to be involved on campus, we're able to answer. Next slide. These are some of the student staff at our space. These are the staff members who were working at the BRC last year. So this isn't the updated slide, but once you get those pictures from the new staff, I will be sure to have those for future presentations. But as you see, we are largely a student-run space. The first several pictures you'll see are our peer guidance leaders, which I'll talk about in a few slides, but they serve as peer mentors for incoming first-year students as well as first-year transfer students, just to help guide their way throughout their first year at UC San Diego. Followed by the peer guidance leaders, we have our student success leaders. You see on the second row, last 2 on the right, Anthony and Jasmine were our transfer student success leaders. And then we have our 3 student success leaders. And these are interns at the BRC. Every year we have a cohort of interns who are operating the front desk, helping with the operations of the space, and putting on a variety of different programs and events for the Black campus community. So as y'all progress throughout your UC San Diego experiences, the BRC is a place that you can work, and I'll be happy to answer questions related to that towards the end of the presentation. And then lastly, we have our graduate assistants and community intern to make sure that we're also servicing the graduate student population at UC San Diego, making sure that we have programming specific to graduate students, as well as just some general assistance with the running of the Black Resource Center as a unit. So to talk about our center and the physical space of our center, when we are on campus, of course, we're all still working remotely, but we do plan to open for the fall quarter. We are located in the original student center, which is near Muir College, some of the brown buildings next to the general store, as well as the food co-op. The Women's Center and the LGBT Resource Center are also located in this area. So as y'all are looking at campus maps or just becoming familiar with campus, y'all will be able to see where we are located. And we are located on the second floor of the original Student Center. The pictures that y'all are seeing, these are some pictures that show the inside of our center. You can see like the couches, you can see some of the art pieces. That top right picture are some of the Black students who are on the patio. We have our own patio space, which if you're looking at the picture on the left, this door kind of leads to the patio. And then there's tables out there if you want to eat, have your lunch, or have a meeting or something along those ends. You can do all that in our patio space. The main programmatic area of our space where these students are pictured on the middle right slot or a picture, that's what we call our family room. As you see, there are couches there. There's a bookshelf if you want to rent out any books or textbooks. Not readily pictured, but you can kind of see it towards the back of the picture. We have a kitchenette. So whether you're a commuter student or just want a space to store your lunch, you can store your lunch at the BRC. There's a microwave, a toaster oven. There's also a computer lab space for students if y'all need to write like a last minute essay. We offer free printing for our students up to 5 pages per day. We also have a conference room space. So if you need a meeting space for your student organizations, or you just need a space to study in a quiet, closed or enclosed space, you can reserve our conference room for all of your needs. But the reason that we show this slide is because the most important resource that we provide to our students is the physical space of the Black Resource Center. Since we are a physical space on campus, this isn't like a club or something you have to join. Any student can come to the center, sign in, meet people, participate in programs and events, and really just exist and be able to meet other people, participate in programs, and just have that space for you on campus. Go to the next slide. So talking about some of our programs, events, as I mentioned, our interns are the main folks that do the programming in our space. So any programs that they want to put on, they're able to see those through. But we also have some traditional programs and events that we put on every academic year. So I want to take the opportunity to talk about some of them and how they might be relevant for y'all throughout your time at UC San Diego. First things first, every year, including this upcoming fall, we have a Black Family Orientation, which we used to call the Black Student Success Institute. As first-year students, y'all will get invited to this program, but this is an opportunity for y'all to be introduced to the Black community on campus, get to know the different student orgs that are available for you, get to know the career staff at the Black Resource Center, meet some faculty, some administrators, and other staff who will be able to support you throughout your time at UC San Diego. Of course, being a part of CASP, y'all are very familiar with some of these resources or will have been familiar with these resources, but it's always good to be able to meet new people in these different spaces and learn how they can support you throughout your time at UC San Diego. So this year, as first-year students, y'all should be receiving an invite to this if y'all have not already. The Black Family Orientation will take place, I believe, September 10th through the 12th. So just make sure that y'all are checking your email to make sure that y'all are familiar with when this is taking place and how to make sure you are involved. Then we have the mid-year mixer. This is the program that happens every year at the midpoint of the academic year, which is week 5 of winter quarter. This is an opportunity for y'all as students to reconvene at the BRC, enjoy a meal, get to see some familiar faces, meet some new faces. And this mid-year mixer is really designed as a follow-up to the orientation, just to make sure that y'all are maximizing the resources that we shared with y'all during the orientation. So whether it was a person you met or maybe a resource center that you were introduced to, but maybe you haven't had the opportunity to engage with them, this mid-year mixer serves as a follow-up to make sure that you're checking those boxes of what we talk about in order to have a successful first year at UC San Diego. All of our events that we put on, or at least for most of our events, we try to have some type of food. We definitely know that food is a great way to build community and bring community together. So that's another great reason why you should participate in some of these programs and events. The peer guidance program. So I mentioned in that first slide with the student staff that we have peer guidance leaders who serve as peer mentors for students. The peer guidance program, as you can see, is designed to aid academic, social, and cultural adjustment of incoming Black students at UC San Diego. This isn't meant to be duplicative of your CASP mentors, or if you're in Oasis, Summer Bridge, any other mentors that you have on campus. We try to target students who don't already have mentors, but some students who are CASP students or Summer Bridge students, they might still want to participate in the peer guidance program, just to have another or a mentor that looks like them and is familiar with the Black student experience at UC San Diego. And these peer guidance groups, they have community building programs. There's that academic component to make sure you're transitioning well into the university academically. But all in all, just making sure that you feel a sense of community and a sense of belonging to make sure as you're going throughout your time at UC San Diego, you know that you have a support system. So whether you're interested in having an additional mentor and being a part of the peer guidance program, or further down your time at UCSD, if you would like to sign up to be a peer guidance leader, definitely happy to talk through some of those opportunities with y'all as well. The Black graduation ceremony, personally one of my favorite events that we put on every year at the BRC. This is a culmination of your academic experience at UC San Diego. UC San Diego has a number of different cultural graduations and identity-based graduations. And so every year, the Black graduation ceremony happens spring quarter Friday of finals week. And this is an opportunity for you to invite your family, your friends to celebrate your crowning achievement at UC San Diego. This is an event that is open for all graduating students, whether you're graduating from your undergrad with your bachelor's, or if you're getting your master's, EDD, PhD, whatever degree you're earning from UCSD. Just a great opportunity to have a celebration of you with folks that you have gone along with your UC San Diego experience with. In typical years, we have African drummers leading the procession of graduates. This past year, we had a DJ and a nice stage for our students to cross. We have custom African kente stoles that all of our graduating students receive. Just once again, it's a big celebration, an opportunity for you to celebrate with your friends that you graduated with, and just really take that time to be recognized for receiving this degree from such a prestigious institution. Because of course, although y'all will have many social experiences at UC San Diego, you'll be making many connections, the main reason that y'all are here is to receive that degree. And we want to make sure that we're able to have a ceremony representative of you to celebrate that crowning achievement. Community programming. So a lot of the programs that we're going to put on at the BRC will happen on campus in our space, but we also know that it's important that we introduce our Black campus or our Black UC San Diego students to the greater San Diego community to make sure you know where to find your culture and your community in the greater San Diego area. The pictures that y'all are seeing on this slide, the top left and bottom right, that was an event that we put on with the BRCs at San Diego State University and University of San Diego to have a skate night for the Black students in San Diego, which is a great opportunity for our students to meet other Black students from other campuses and just to have this communal space where we were able to rent out Skate World and just have an awesome time. Definitely something that we're looking forward to be able to do again once COVID restrictions are eased up and more lifted, so where we can safely enjoy a space like this with our community. And then the bottom left and the top right, this is when we actually rented out a movie theater and got to screen Black Panther for our campus community. So the BRC bought tickets for everybody and we were able to meet at the theater and just have a great experience watching the Black Panther movie. We're always looking for opportunities similar to these to be able to get our students involved with the greater San Diego community, show them where the art scenes are, the best places to eat in San Diego, and just to make sure that y'all understand where to find that community in San Diego. Because as y'all may know already or will find out, La Jolla doesn't have a high number of Black folks in the population. It is a very affluent neighborhood. So you're able to find like some more of the greater San Diego Black community by getting off campus sometimes and being able to introduce yourself to these different programs and events. Student organizations. Throughout your time at UCSD, especially this first year, y'all are going to become familiar with a lot of student organizations. There's going to be a lot of tabling, a lot of flyering, and a lot of events that you'll want to become familiar with and be a part of. But just wanted to make sure that we took the time to showcase some of the affiliated Black student organizations, collectives, and academic units. Kind of going around the slide, starting at the top, NSBE, we do have a NSBE chapter at UC San Diego, or the National Society of Black Engineers. So for any of y'all who are engineering students, or maybe you're considering being an engineering student, NSBE is a great opportunity for you. Below that on the left, the African American Studies minor. Students, as I mentioned, I had an African American Studies minor throughout my time at UC San Diego. So that's an opportunity for y'all as well. Excuse me. And the African American Studies program actually announced that they will have a Black African Diaspora Academic Studies major, which is a Black Studies major. So beginning fall 2022, that will be an opportunity that y'all as students can take advantage of, whether you want to switch to Black Studies or declare that as a double major. That would be an opportunity available for you as well. The Black Student Union, this is our oldest Black student organization on our campus. The BSU focuses on student activism, community building, providing access to other Black students to higher education, but just one of many of our student organizations on this campus. Below that, African Student Association, for any students who identify with any part of their African heritage, making sure that there's a student organization that doesn't just focus on the Black American experiences, but also understanding Blackness as a diaspora, and understanding that there are many students on our campus who identify as Nigerian, Ethiopian, Ghanaian. There's a number of different, or there's a lot of diversity within the Black students at UC San Diego. The Black Studies Project, this is the academic unit. So if you want to get involved with research as it pertains to Black individuals, that's definitely something to check out. Below that, NPHC, the National Panhellenic Council, or better known as kind of the Divine Nine Black Greek organizations. In San Diego, the NPHC is a citywide chapter, meaning that the lines of Greek organizations are comprised of students from San Diego State University, UC San Diego, as well as University of San Diego. So although we don't have like a Greek row or specific fraternities and Black fraternities and sororities on our campus, y'all are still able to become involved in the NPHC if you are interested. Many times we'll have events where members of different Divine Nine organizations will come to table to talk to students about being involved in their organizations. We also have a few different students who are currently involved in Black Greek organizations on our campus. If I'm not mistaken, Sigma Gamma Rho does have a chapter on our campus, and this information is available on our website if y'all would like to know more. But also a number of our Black staff on our campus and faculty are involved in Greek organizations. So the director of the BRC, Portia Curry, she is an AKA. The assistant director, Jay, he is an IOTA. And there is a number of other administrators and staff who are affiliated with other orgs. Then on the right of the slide, we have some of our collectives, the Black Women's Collective, Black Men's Collective, Black Queer Collective, as well as Black Geek Collective. These collectives serve as closed spaces for folks who identify with those targeted categories, just to provide a space for you to talk about the experiences and connect on common ground, whether you're a Black woman wanting to be in space with other Black women, Black men wanting to be in space with other Black men, or if you identify as a Black geek or a Black nerd, blurred, and want to be around other folks who are interested in talking about comic books and anime, we have these spaces available for students, and they meet typically on a bi-weekly basis, and it's just another way for y'all to build community. Then last couple slides, one would just be an opportunity to connect with us. As I mentioned, or if you go on our website, brc.ucsd.edu, you can see a lot of this information that I talked with y'all about this afternoon. You're also able to sign up for our e-newsletter, which goes out every Thursday. The newsletter is one of the best ways for y'all to stay up to date with different events that are going on at the BRC, as well as in the campus community. We also usually post about internships and job opportunities on that newsletter. Comes out once a week on Thursdays. So if y'all are interested in getting connected that way, highly encourage y'all to sign up for the e-newsletter. If you have questions, you can email us. Our email address is brc@ucsd.edu. I will also put my email address in the chat in case y'all would like to reach out to me directly with any questions that you have. And then on social media, currently we're only / mostly active on Instagram at UCSDBRC. So if y'all want to follow us on our Instagram, we post flyers for events that we're having. We repost other events and flyers from off campus, and just to find out more about the Black community. I think it's a great way to get connected that way. And yeah, so that's wraps up my presentation. So I want to open it up for kind of just general dialogue or any questions that folks may have about anything that I covered, or any questions that you'll have about being Black students at UC San Diego, about the campus experience, anything along those lines. And if you don't want to unmute to ask your question, you can also use the chat if you'd like. But we still have like a good amount of time to take time to answer any questions that y'all have. And thanks for the hand claps. Not seeing any questions coming through yet. And it doesn't necessarily just have to be about the BRC. It can be about student life. It can be about getting involved. Anything that you feel would be helpful for y'all to know as students at UC San Diego, or just general getting to know each other. I think it's a good opportunity to have community and just talk to each other and get to know each other as well. So however y'all would like to use the time we have, I'm open to whatever y'all need. If there aren't any, what is the Black demographic at UCSD was a question that was asked. So to my, I don't know the exact percentage, but to my understanding, it's around 3% currently, which may seem low, but if you take into account the number of students at UC San Diego, there's still hundreds of students, or Black students, Black identified students at UC San Diego. And just in general, for most California universities, Black students are going to make up a smaller percentage of the student demographic. What I will say is, from that firsthand experience, although the percentage might not be where we would like rather, there's still a very tight-knit community. Gotten to know like a lot of people and built a lot of lifelong friends and connections throughout my time at UC San Diego. Another resource that I didn't mention also that I think is good for y'all to know about is the African Black Diaspora Living Learning Community, or Black Housing. There is a Black housing community on campus, so that's another way to make sure that for those of y'all who are living on campus, y'all are able to get connected to your community right away. Another question in the chat was, have you had a high amount of negative experiences on campus, like microaggressions, et cetera? Great question. I wouldn't say that I had a high amount of negative experiences. I also wouldn't lie to y'all and say that my experience was absolutely perfect. I think anytime you're talking about being Black in higher education, there are going to be those instances where you might experience microaggressions. I think what's most important is being able to understand what microaggressions are. And if those of y'all who may not be familiar with the term microaggressions, these are small instances of intentional or non-intentional, I don't know the exact definition to get off the top of my head, but for example, if someone asks like, oh, how do you get your hair like that? Or if someone is asking if you're here on a basketball scholarship, those are things that may not have intentional harm behind them, but they are rooted in some type of bias / racism. They happen on a micro level, but if you have those repeated microaggressions, they can have a macro impact, I would say. But to answer the question, I personally didn't experience a lot of negative microaggressions or negative experiences. If there were any negative experiences I had, I knew that I had support or resources through either the BRC or other Black student organizations to make sure that I had the support I needed, or if I needed to report anything, I knew where to report those types of instances. But speaking from a firsthand experience, I didn't really experience too many negative experiences.